Hello everyone. So today in this session we are going to study about migrations. Fine, and from here I can show it to you that there are no database named as all these stuffs, but I'm going to create payment information with payment info database with username root and password should be now. So over here I'm just going to create payment underscore info as a database and clicking on create button. Now with this thing I'm just going to open localhost database answers. Fine, search on the Google Net, go to the data models, and I'm going to search one of the data model which I actually clean this website a lot. They have done a lot of things on research. So today I'm just going to do the migration of entire table that is shown over here. That is the hands-on practical demonstration. Fine, let me open the notepad first. So I'm just going to have two more steps, that is setting the priority for creating the table. Fine, so first thing is create all the tables which have primary keys. Fine, it should not have foreign keys, but it should be having primary keys. And then I will be creating all the tables in hierarchical structure which are having primary and foreign key or only foreign keys. Fine, so with this thing I think that I will be linking up the entire hierarchical structure and explaining it to you that how I will be creating the tables. So let me set the priority. Okay, so you can see over here first table will be customers table. The next table that I will be creating with you all people will be, let me see, okay, reference payment method, because it also contains only primary key. Then all the primary key tables are now created except ref payment status, which I'll be creating afterwards. It's okay. So then I will be creating accounts, and then from that accounts I will be also creating customer payment methods. With this thing I'll be creating payments method, but I forgot to say that reference payment method payment status. Okay, let me shuffle this thing. Fine, so okay, let me shuffle this thing. I'll be creating first reference payment method and then at last the payment method. Fine, so this is the hierarchical structure by which I am going to follow all these rules. Fine, you can also shuffle some of the certain amount of tables if you like. Fine, it's not that whatever I go you should also go, but remember primary key first. You have to create all the tables with the primary key. So let's create a table. I'm just opening Commander in a quick note. Let me go with the quickest way as possible. So dry cd batch demo, and then you can see I'll be creating a migration file. Fine, for first number should be, as we have seen that we will be creating customers table. Let me arrange Commander for certain amount of time. Okay, so that you can see it. PHP artisan make me a migration file named as customers. Fine, but there is a syntax by which we have to use it in a camel case. It will create a nice structured format of our migration. So I am going to use camel case. So you can see that there are no migrations files right now. I have deleted all the migration files, including the migration file provided by Laravel itself. So I'm pressing it enter, and you can see that ID is now created. Customers table is now created. But this is not just creating of the table. This is just writing the schema of the table. So I'm just going to type all the requirement of this table, that is big integer, customer ID, customer name, and other details. Fine, so customer name, let me take how many characters? Okay, let's take 50 characters, and then other details that can be in a text format, so that you can give a text area to it in the HTML format. Fine, so I'm not going to delete any of the timestamps, but I'm going to define a primary key to customer ID. Fine, so with this thing I'm just going to migrate it. It's pretty much easy, and you can see that migration is now done, and it's always done in a terrific good manner. You can see that there are two tables created, that is customers, and the Laravel itself maintains migration column, and timestamp actually creates two different columns, that is created it and updated it. Fine. This is nothing but migrations table by which Laravel actually maintains batch number, as in when you provide artisan migrate, it will maintain its batch number accordingly. So I'm just going to create a new table, that is reference payment methods. You can create with this old structure of Laravel also, but I do not prefer this. But you can create in this manner also by providing underscore stuffs. Fine. This is an old method. Fine. So I'm just pressing Ctrl P and typing reference payment methods and opening it up from shortcut methods that is provided by Visual Studio Code, or you can go to migrations folder and directly open up the file. Now pretty much easier to operate. Let's go with payment method code, and then I'm just going to open with payment method name, but this is an enum. Why it is an enum? Because it's given in the example that MX bank transfer, cash, debit, Diners Club, MasterCard, Visa card are the only array should be allowed. So I'm just going to create array and allow only these number of arguments as an validation. Fine. So this is nothing but SQL side validation, or you can say constraint. Using enum you can provide the constraint. Fine. A string constraint is easier to provide by enum. Fine. So it's done and pretty much easier. With this thing, let's go one more step ahead. Phew, it's done. Okay, let me arrange this thing so as to make it pretty much better in a way. Okay, now let's go with primary key, but you can define a primary key over here, or you can also define the primary key after timestamps. So that means after the end of the creating of the table. But you can see over here created reference payment is now created. Let me show it to you. It's now created, and Eureka, you can now see that all the concepts that we have set are now available. Pretty much easier. I'll be covering all the aspects that are needed to be a migration expert for you all people. So I'm now creating accounts table. So let's start with PHP Artisan. Make me a migration file with create accounts. Fine. And I'm just pressing tab enter. I'm just going to press Ctrl P, create accounts, and pressing it up enter. Fine. So it will open from the migration file. I do not want to go to the Explorer and open it up. Mouse is very much slower in a way. Big integer account ID, and we have customer ID. Fine. So I'll be creating first the column with customer ID, and then I'll be having a foreign key onto it. Fine. Okay. Just wait a minute, but let's create first a column. Then I'm going to create account name. You can define the foreign key in this manner, that customer ID has a references of the other tables column. Fine. So first it is given the name of the column of other table, that is customer ID, and then on other tables name, that is nothing but customers table. Fine. So the first argument is nothing but the current table, the next argument current table column, and the next argument is nothing but you can see that okay, so here we go. Let me first show it to you. Customer ID has is there in customers table, so I'm just mentioning it over here. Fine. So first argument is nothing but the current stable column name. The second argument is nothing but other stable column name, on, that is the third argument, is nothing but the table name of other table. Fine. Okay, so with this thing, let's create one more stuff, that is string account name with string name. Let me remember, it was 50. Yes, 50. Okay, let's create an account with 30. It's okay. And then I'm just going to keep it up float, but you can see for float in Laravel docs it's nothing but decimal. Fine, so I'm just going to use decimal for float. Okay, so it's good to have a Laravel doc with you anyways. Okay, so here we have current underscore balance, because it might have different amount of digits. Let's go with 4-digit decimal places and 8 digits of number. I just forgot to correct my syntax errors. Okay, so over here then we have other details, that is nothing but we can say text area. If you wish, you can provide a narration to it. So with this thing, everything is completed except one thing, that is primary key. Let's define a primary key. So it's done, primary key. Okay, so let's one more thing, you can define the primary key in this manner, or you can provide the primary key in certain other manner also. But okay, so now we have created the entire accounts table. Okay, thumbs up guys over there. Fine. So what if I press let me show it to you. So we have accounts table and all the things that we have mentioned, that is primary key, foreign key, all the details that we wanted are now done, including decimal places of 8,4. Okay, so with this thing we can even roll back. Rollback is nothing but what it will do is last batch, whatever the last batch is, it will roll back that file. So in this case the last batch was create accounts. If I do that, you can see that last batch was 3. Fine, it has been rolled back. That is nothing but it has deleted that accounts folder, accounts table. You can see over here. Fine, so that means that whatever we type in up function is executed when we migrate it. Whatever we do it in rollback function, fine, it will be executing nothing but you can see down function. Fine, but anyways, you can see over here that customer ID is nothing but a foreign key, and account ID is nothing but primary key, and everything got executed. So in the next coming session we will be talking much more about all these customer ID and everything, and I'll be also teaching you how to alter the table or add a column or delete a column anyways. Fine, in that next coming up video. Fine, so stay tuned. So I'm just right now once again migrating the file, and there we go. Okay, so accounts table is now created. Now it's done for customers payment methods. Let's create the customers payment methods table. So PHP artisan make me a migration with nothing but create a customers payments methods, and there we go. Let's wait for it to get created. Sometimes it takes some time. Okay, so I'm just pressing Ctrl P, customer payment methods, and I'm opening it up with my keyboard. Okay, it is presented in migration folder in nothing else. Fine, and database folder and migration folder into it. Fine. Okay, so with this thing, let's create a first primary key, that is customer ID, as you can see it in the screen itself. Then we have payment method code, which is a pretty much bigger name. It's a huge name, but anyways, it's okay. Fine. So payment method code is the column name. First we will be creating the column and then we will be adding up the primary key and foreign key accordingly. Okay, so you can see that it does contain primary key and foreign key both. Fine. So if you want to specify a primary key, we can have only one primary key in the table. It's a general rule of thumb for SQL, but here we have two primary keys. That means we have a composite key. Say for example, if you have two or more primary key, it does look like a composite key. Fine, it's general rule of thumb. So I'm just going to create two different primary keys for one single table. That is, I'm just going to operate it under the array. Fine, it's in array format. So with this thing we also have we can say that card number. Fine, and with this card number we can have big integer, that is we can also have card number with 20 syntax or 19 syntax if not mistaken, I don't remember, but just a second. $table string card number and 20. I don't remember if it is 20 or 19. Let's calculate it. First 4 characters, then 4 characters, then 4 characters, and yeah, it's 16 characters of XXX and 3 dashes. So it is 16 plus 3 is 19. Okay, so I was right. I think it's 19 characters of the string, entire string. So you can see it over here and calculate it by yourself. So anyways, let's go with 19. Okay, okay. So big $table with expiry date. Expiry date is nothing but date itself. Fine, so I'll be calculating the date over here. Typo error, but it's okay. Card underscore expiry underscore date. Fine, that's what we did it. And then card security number, that is once again a number. Fine, that is CVV number we can say, and CVV number does contain of 3 digits or something. Fine, but it's okay. We can create 3 digits of number, and with this thing I'm going to press enter, and other details again text. I have created all the other details column as a text. For narration or something we can put it up. So you can see the primary key can be defined in this manner also, but we have to always keep in mind that timestamp should be at the end of the table, but primary key and foreign key should be the last thing on earth that you mention in the entire schema in migration. Fine, so primary and foreign key should be the last thing that you should be developing it up. Customer ID is nothing but we can say customers on customers table. Fine, and one more thing we have is nothing but payment method code, that is PMC, referencing payment method code, and on, and the table name is nothing but reference payment methods. Let's see, reference payment methods. I think okay, I think I have completed everything in a way. Semicolon it up. Okay, so reference payment method actually contains payment method code, and this payment method code is actually getting connected with the payment method code that is available in this folder. So for integer it is nothing but boards. Fine, so over here everything is now completed, I think. Fine, so one more thing, this is nothing but the primary key or foreign key that we are establishing is nothing but column wise foreign key or primary key. Means the first the table will be created, and then for setting up the primary key and foreign key, Laravel will fire or run the alter query at the backend. Fine, so first the create table query will be executed, and then automatically the alter table query will be executed. So for creating this schema it will execute at least 2 different type of things. Over here you can see that there will be showing an error. Okay, just let me show it to you. PHP artisan migrate. So you can see that the identifier is too long, that is the name of the index value for adding up the primary key is too long. Customers, payment methods, customer ID, payment method, code primary, it's a headache. Fine. So what if I want to provide my default primary key or my default index value to the primary key? So you can see that I'm just going to make it in a short way. So we can also define the index value to our primary key also, fine, which is necessarily been done by Laravel. So I'm just going to say customer ID underscore PMC underscore PK and going to refresh it up, and let me delete manually in this table because it was created by migration but was not reflected by in the migrations table. Fine. I'm just going to create and let's migrate it, and now it's done. And one more thing, I did one more mistake, that was payment method code was being defined in the as a foreign key. I corrected it with this code over here. Fine, you can see. And yes, you can also define your own index value to foreign key over here. So I have corrected, rather than it was first written customer ID, but now I have corrected it at the backend PMC, that is payment method code, along with my different type of, let me roll back and once again migrate. Fine. So there is no error and everything is working fine. So you can define your index value to foreign key as well as primary key as I have shown it to you. Fine. Okay. So one more, now with this thing you can, let me show you the entire structure. There is payment method code, fine, but we can go with customers payment methods. So you can see customer ID and payment method code are nothing but primary key as well as PMC, that is payment method code is foreign key as well. Fine. Don't worry, I do not have corona as in sense, just a bit of problem. Anyways, it was a joke. Fine. PHP artisan make me a migration file, creating nothing but ref payment status and pressing the enter. So let's wait for the file to get created. I hope so you are understanding all sorts of information that I am typing over here. I'm just typing PHP artisan migrate, but before I migrate the entire table, let me once again create the reference payment status with big integer payment status code and enum payment status description. Fine. Why enum? Because I already explained that it does actually contain default values such as cancelled, completed, disputed, challenged. All these things are nothing but default values which has to be given as an input, and other except these default value it should not accept any other value. Fine. So I'm just going to create an array having cancelled, that is C as a capital, completed C as capital again, disputed D as a capital again, D as a capital, and challenged, that is C as a capital again. Fine. So there are 3 C's and 1 D, CD. Okay. So with this thing we need to also define a primary key. You can define the primary key over here. Fine. And let me delete all the spaces. Okay, so let's save the space and let me see if I have forgotten anything or something. I don't think so, but yeah, one more thing, you can also define the primary key over here, and you can define payment method status code without array, because it does only contain one primary key right now. It is not composite, but if you want to create a composite key, as I said earlier, you have to mention it in the array format, But if you want to define it column wise primary key, you can define it in under the single inverted commas. This is the difference. Fine, you can have whatever way you like your best, but right now I'm just completing my entire stuff with this thing. Okay, so let me show you the entire code that I have written, and now I'm just going to migrate it. Let's go ahead. Oops, I think I might have, okay, yeah, typo error, simple typo error. Now it's migrated. Yuppie. Let's go ahead with make me a migration file. That is the last and final table of this entire SQL, and then we'll be having goodbye. I hope to see you in the next video after saying goodbye. So let's go to the payments table, and big integer with payment ID as primary key. It does contain 4 different type of you can see few foreign keys. It will be a big headache for me. Anyways, let's go with account ID. With this thing we can have customer ID, and then we can have payment method code, and then we have payment status code. It does have a lot of columns. I think I should have picked up a nice column, different data model from the databaseanswers.com, because it does have a lot of common folders. But anyways, we can deal with it. Fine. So going to type date underscore off underscore payment with date, and amount of payment should be in digit, that is nothing but decimal table, and then we have other details, that is nothing but this text, fine, text format. Okay, and then we have other details in the text format, and then let's type a table with foreign key, 4 different foreign keys. It's a huge task to make it maintain. Let's do multiple typing at all at once, so that I need to type it because I'm quite lazy in typing. Let's have multiple cursors and type table foreign key with something on references something, and then on, that is the table name should be inside the on and semicolon. So all the base things I have written it over here. I'm just going to type payment. First let's go with account ID, fine, and then over here account ID actually is having a column with accounts, and then with customer ID we can put it up with customer ID, and this customer ID we will get it from in the customers table. Fine, so let's go with customers table itself. Rather than directly following this database answer, I'm just going to pull it up from the customers table itself, and then payment method code we will be fetching it up from the customers ref underscore payment underscore methods. So let's fetch it directly from the parent table rather than the sub table anyways. So ref underscore payment underscore method. Okay, so it's done. Let me press an enter so that you can see the entire code. And last but not the least, payment status code, that is ref underscore payment underscore status inside this payment status folder, right? Okay, so let me press and enter and type over here ref underscore payment underscore status and save this entire file. Phew, it was a huge headache, but I forgot. Let me correct certain amount of details over here, and then it was decimal, not digit. Fine, it was typo error. Now we have created the payments table also, and everything is working fantastic. Fine. Okay, so let me show it to you. Ref underscore payment underscore methods, and all the 7 or 6 tables are now created. alongside let's go with the designer view, and let me arrange all these things by pausing this video, fine, so that I can show it to you. And yeah, one more thing, I just have made a mistake that payment underscore id is not getting primary key, rather it is just an column that is a normal column. It should be primary key because I just forgot the brackets in it, fine, while recording the video, fine. Please do correct it. Thank you all, thank you for watching this video and liking this thing, fine. Thank you very much. Do like, share, subscribe my video, and yeah, do comment in the comment section whenever you are free, fine. I'll be available for you if you say it to me. Thank you, bye bye.